Welcome back here today on the beautiful campus of Florida Panhandle Technical College, another in our series of what's going on in the community. Football season has come to a close. Basketball season is rearing its head, getting ready to get real serious. Our guest today when we come back will be Dwight Kennedy, head basketball coach for Chipley High School right here in Chipley, Florida. Dwight's going to share a little bit of his insight with us going into his big fourth year. The ups, the downs, the challenges, all the things that make us laugh, cry, and sometimes bleed as high school athletes. It's an exciting story. You're at the right place at the right time. When we come back, we're going to talk to Dwight Kennedy about all of this and more, and we will be right back. Welcome back. Today, as I mentioned, our guest is Dwight Kennedy.
Sir.
I call you Dion. What is your actual name, legal name that you go by?
My name is Dwight Dion Kennedy.
Okay.
I got my full name from my uncle, and it just throughout the school years, from middle school and high school, I used Dion, and never used to hear Dwight unless one, my mother and my sister was mad at me, and or during college once I started playing college ball, and the professors, Dwight. So, well, yeah, majority of the folks in Chipley, they know me as Dion.
I call you Dion or D, and Coach D. We were fortunate, Dion, the other day, earlier this week, to be able to be part of your media day.
Yes, sir.
Every year you do this. I'm going to give you a chance to talk about it in a second. But what really struck me is that all your guys had the opportunity to do a small interview with us, and I put them on the spot. I said, "Tell me about Coach D," and I know it would make you cry if you heard it, and you want to hear it because it's all good stuff. Let's start at the beginning. Going into your fourth year, you came on the show your first year, and we kind of talked a little bit. It's been way too long.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your career. How did you get involved in basketball? I know that you went through a college career and then finally into coaching and teaching. Talk a little bit about how that all transpired.
Well, I gave up playing the game of basketball around 2010, 2011. FSU accepted me as a student, and I told myself I don't want to get up at 5 a.m. working out anymore. I didn't want to go to another college and to go through that because mentally it just wasn't in me anymore. But FSU was always the dream school for me. So I decided just to go as a student, and it was the best year and a half of my life, I say. But while I was there, for some reason I still played a lot of basketball. Intramural is at FSU. We would sneak in an intramural at FAMU. Still played ball at TCC at times. It's just everywhere I was playing basketball. My old high school coach, my senior year, Coach Colville, he used to always tell me like, "Hey, if you want to get into coaching, just come see me, just come help me." And he was at Garvey High School in Tallahassee at the time, and I was like, "No, that ain't me. I don't want to be a teacher." So I always had the impression if you wanted to be a high school coach, you had to be a teacher. I'm like, no, that's not for me. But for some reason, when I graduated, and again, I was still around the game of basketball. I was training kids, on my spare time, and I was doing all this for free because I still love the game.
Sure.
And I came back home. My father got sick at one point, so I decided not to go into the military after I graduated from Florida State. I decided to come home, and I was working at Nike, and it was this young lady that walked into Nike, and I was like, wow, who is this? So I started talking to her, but her auntie was like, "Hey, do you have a degree in such and such?" I'm like, "Yes, I do." She's like, "Well, at CC Washington, we need paraprofessionals." That's how I got into the education system. And a couple of years after that, my friend, Stephen Gilbert, one of my best friends, he was moving into South Walton as the head basketball coach. He's originally from Jacksonville, didn't know anything about South Walton or the Panhandle. He called me and he's like, "Man, I need an assistant coach." And I knew what he was getting into. I knew he didn't know he was getting into. So I was like, "Man, I can help you out any way I can." And that pretty much started my coaching journey.
Now, you went to high school at Chipley High School?
That's right.
So born and raised, Chipley Chipley?
Born and raised from Chipley to the Funac Springs. My second grade year, I moved from Kate Smith to West of Funac Elementary. We were back and forth from prison to prison due to my father, working in the prison system. So I went from second grade to mid sixth grade year. And mid sixth grade year at Walton Middle, I came to Rolac Middle. And I was a little upset because when I came back to Rolac Middle, we were at the new Rolac Middle School, which is today. I always wanted to go to the old Rolac Middle, just have some memories there. But from mid sixth grade year on to my 12th grade year, I've been in Chipley.
As I mentioned in the pre-show, football season has just come to a close.
Yeah.
Had a pretty successful year.
Oh yeah.
And football is king in the South.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So I know that it's got to be frustrating sometimes, especially you go all the way to state championships and all that. And it just, for some reason, looking at things from my perspective, sometimes basketball just doesn't get its due.
Yes.
And I get it. Football is king. But I get a lot of students in here at the college, and they'll tell me, I want to go to NBA, I want to go to NFL,
Right.
I want to go to NBA, or MLB, and it's like, there are very few people that play that ball.
Struggle.
There's 400 people that play in the NBA.
Yes, sir.
And there's 40 million people that work in the industry to carry the signal, whether it's radio or television or online. So if you want to be around any of those major league sports,
right,
you can do it and not get your knees blown out.
That's right.
Your first year.
There's a place for it.
Let's talk a little bit about, and I want to move on, but I want to dwell a little bit on the insight that you bring as a coach because of your college.
Right.
Talk a little bit about your experience, not necessarily with yourself, but with other folks, getting to the show, getting to at least the college ball, and then getting hurt in some way. It's very prevalent, and basketball keeps getting to be more physical all the time.
Right. Well, I've looked myself in the mirror many, many times. I mean, even before I took this job 4 years ago, I asked myself, like, how do I want to coach these kids? But how do I want to coach them just through life in general? How am I going to give them the knowledge that they need? So I take my job very seriously. And I know some people are like, oh, you're just a basketball coach. I understand that as well. But at the same time, they need to understand that I'm with these kids more than I'm with my own. So if I feel like I have a job to do when it comes to just being real and realistic with them,
Well, and to inject there, they spend more time with you than what they do with their parents.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Absolutely.
You are a role model. You are that surrogate father, surrogate head of the family. You create a family basically every year, and the members of that family, your sports family, may change a little bit year to year.
Yes.
But you are, and that's what I kept hearing from these students that I interviewed the other day, is that Coach D is my surrogate dad. Doesn't take anything away from their biological dad,
Oh, no.
but they look up to you,
Right.
and they all looking at basketball as maybe a way out of this small town.
That's right.
And they see you as a successful person, as a role model. Chipley is a small town, not unlike a million other small towns in the United States.
Right.
Football, basketball, baseball to a certain extent, certainly all the other sports. We put a high priority on doing well in sports, sometimes even more so than academic. And, the old saw of, pushing a kid through the classes so that he can play basketball or baseball, football on Friday, and kind of letting his education go second.
Yeah.
I know you're a stickler for that. Talk a little bit about the importance of education and what you tell your students.
Well, I put myself, my story into it, from 9th and 12th grade. I just got by. I was very intelligent, and I could have done a lot more. But just getting by, I didn't really have any goals of playing at the next level. I didn't have a goal at playing at the next level until my 12th grade year. I got by through FCAT. That's been back in the day when FCAT was very, very big, and I passed FCAT my junior year, and I think my senior year I had about 4 PEs. just getting by. Just didn't have a goal in life. My father used to tell me all the time, like, if you just stay out of trouble, if you want to play sports, stay out of trouble. You wouldn't have to get a real job. And I felt like I had a job anyway because I fish most of the time. Like I was like fishing for the community, but because that's one of my loves as well. I love to fish, but um, I just got by in high school, and I remember I want to say after my birthday, my father, he sat down and talked to me. He said, "Listen, we haven't really talked about your future. You're about to graduate, so I'm gonna give you some options." He said, you can figure out about this basketball stuff. You're pretty good at it. If we can figure something out within the next 3 months and you can get a scholarship, then that's an option. He said, I don't really see you, having a 9 to 5 around here. I was like, yeah, the McDonald's, and because I don't like messing with anybody's food. So I knew that it just wasn't comfortable to me. I was like, nah, I don't think I want to like normal 9 to 5. He's like, okay, all right. Well, if it's not 9 to 5, I can try to figure out something about corrections. I'm like, Pops, I've been in the state system with you for too long. That's just not me. He's like, okay, well, here's your last option. You got to join the military. And he walks off on me. He walks off. I think I played my best game those last 8 to 10. And when I tell you I balled out and I was like, no, I wasn't afraid of the military, but I know my father, he's a Vietnam vet, so I used to hear the stories and like, no, I don't really want to get into all that. But I think I played my best ball then. I think I did, and I was offered a few scholarships. I remember FAMU was looking at me, but for me just getting by my education, I didn't have two foreign languages. So couldn't go D1. But I was blessed to have a scholarship at Gulf Coast. So I took that. So with just my story of me just getting by, I hurt myself. And I don't want the kids that I can grab and reach, I don't want them to go through that same struggle if they have the ability to go to the next level. And I'm the type to, if you're around me, we're going to figure something out. I know a lot of them are going to play at the next level of basketball. So I try to give them this college atmosphere now. With the 3 to 4 or how many years you're with me, I'm giving it to you now. The media day, the grades, the gear, social media influence, all of that knowledge that we can give you with the program that I'm running, I want it to help you as you move out of high school. And you said it earlier. There's only one Trent Forrest. There's only one Alex Hamilton. Okay, they were blessed to continue to go and make careers out of this game of basketball. But even if they didn't, they got to the next level, building memories and more opportunities, whether it was basketball or just further on their education of getting that degree. And I know some of them not going to make it there, but it's my job to figure out, okay, so what do you want to do? You may play basketball for me, but your sport may be football or track. We can push you that way. You may not even want to play sports at the next level, but you may want to go to technical college and get a trade. You may have spoken that to me and like, okay, now I got to help you pursue that. Maybe you want to go into the military. Maybe I need to find somebody you need to talk to. So it's just not my job just to, yes, I'm here. I'm the basketball coach. We want to win. We want to stay as the standard in the Panhandle. But for all those young men, I feel like I have a job to make sure they get where they need to be once they leave me, or at least be prepared for certain things in life.
Teaching, one of the benefits of teaching to me is that my family grows every year.
That's right.
And I've got these kids that become young men, that become adults, that become responsible, hardworking, tax-paying adults. And they'll contact me and say, hey, Mr. Paul, this is what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they want to brag, and they want to make, and they're continually saying, I'm making you proud. I'm out there doing. Same thing. We've been fortunate enough to work with you since you came on board And I think this was our 4th year to work with you in your media day, and you bring the entire team over here, varsity anyway, and
Mhm.
we get to spend a couple hours with them. We shoot photos of them, shoot a little bit of video. Um, you just see them step up, and
Yeah.
now they can be off in the corner, 3 or 4 of them, and they're cutting the fool a little bit.
Yeah.
But when they step up and they're in front of adults here, you can tell that they are disciplined,
Yes.
and it's gotta start somewhere. So whether you're in the ag program or you're in a sports program or you're in an academic program, such as Beta Club, every one of those instills that ability and want to
Right.
step up and be that adult.
Right.
Talk a little bit about that transition that you see from taking a green player that may have played a little bit in middle school to the point where they graduate, and that transition that you see them make from being a child to being a young man.
We speak in our program, from coming from boys to men. Um, I just feel like for some reason in this world, we are afraid to let boys grow up into men. I just do not understand that whatsoever. Now, again, I'm very realistic with my players, also my students, but more as with my players because you chose to be in this program, which means you chose to be in this family. It's just that simple. I feel like if we get a banner, like I just ordered the Final Four banner from past season, you're always up there, but you're always within the family. Whether you want to or not, you're in the family. It is what it is. Um, but we take that so serious, and to see like our ninth grade from 9th through 12th to just grow, because sometimes it's scary because it's like, oh my God, where did you learn that from? His chest is up now. You hear him, he's more vocal, and we're talking about ninth graders that don't want to talk much. We talk about communication all the time. It's hard for them to communicate. It's hard for them. Like if I tell their parents something, they don't tell them. They don't hand the parents the papers. We got to do all that. And then from 10th grade, okay, now they're communicating a little more with their parents of what we need them from. To 11th grade, they're already asking us, hey, coach, what we need to do, blah blah blah. Until 12th grade, they're leaders. They're leaders. I'm talking about they're just punching their own chest, and it's a wonderful feeling because you understand just the battles that you had to go through with them each and every day.
That being one of them for sure. But what is your single biggest challenge as a small town high school teacher slash coach, especially in light of the fact that you've had some really good years? What challenges do you have, and what challenges are even greater because of your relative success?
I tell them trust. You trust. And I hate this. I hear a lot of programs and companies say this, trust the process. But honestly, it's just that simple. You have to trust in what we're doing in this program. That's with parents. We tell parents all the time, like, hey, your kids, first of all, n- they're with us. Nobody's gonna love them more than us. All right. And we need y'all to understand that. Trust in what we're trying to instill in them, what we're doing in this program. I promise you, they will come out. They will come out stronger. They will. And they're gonna love this program even more. But with the parents, with the kids, we tell them, listen, trust the process. All right. Yesterday I just talked to them about, we don't play individual ball. We are pieces to a puzzle. And once we put those pieces together, it is a great masterpiece. But I tell you, if one just goes his way, it's not complete. So even them, they have to trust it. I mean, at one point, I had to tell myself, my first year, we had a rough year. We changing the program, changing the culture. Everybody didn't trust it. It was like 50-50 from the players to parents to the community, because people wanted change, and I understood that. So that first year, that trust it wasn't there. But the second year, you're like, okay, let's give it a shot. Final Four, state run up. Last year, same way, Final Four. You have to trust the process. So like this year, it's you can tell there's more trust, but it's never that easy. It's never that easy. We could go to state 4 years in a row, and we're still gonna have that problem. So it's the trust within the community. Just trust us.
You mentioned parents. You mentioned the trust factor on all levels from every side. Do you have your favorite parent horror story? You've got to have some parents that, by God, it's my son and he's going to play, and how come he's not playing, or he's better than that, or hey, he was doing such and such at a different school and now you're not playing him. You don't have to talk specifics, obviously, but talk a little bit about that in general and how you deal with that and how the people come around eventually or not.
I tell everyone, um, the this great state that we have, the state of Florida, the rules for high school sports, kids can go anywhere they want to go, whenever they want to go. So if you feel like a kid does not fit our program and our system, you can take them wherever you want them to go. My only thing that aggravates me is um, the communication, because I've learned that the kids may have issues with communicating, but the parents do as well. They do as well. As adults, we have issues communicating with each other, and we have issues communicating with each other as adults. Men should be able to talk to men, and I should be able to talk to any of my parents, any adult in the community. My door is always open. But it does aggravate me. You hear this or you see that. Um, and with me, I mean, Chipley is my home, right? I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, high school level. So I'm in here. I'm here for the right reasons. I love to see us on top in any sport, any program, any nature. This is what I'm here for. But the communication part is terrible. So I tell my parents, you can take your kids whenever you want to, take them wherever you need to take them in the state of Florida, and you can go. Um, we even had one last year. We played 4 games. He was gone after that fourth game, and the parents did communicate to me about it, and I wished them the best of luck, and I'm okay with that, because I feel like a kid has 4 years in high school to play that sport. As long as he plays that sport, if that's what he wants to do, I'm totally fine with it. I hold no grudges about it, because I know as a high school player, I want to play my 4 years. So, yeah, and I don't hurt. If anything goes down, I don't hold any grudges. We all have bad days. We all have bad moments, you know. But I know if I'm blessed to wake up another day, I just tell myself just be a better man and just keep moving forward.
We've probably touched on some of it for sure, but what's the most rewarding part of that? Being that coach, being that guy, knowing that these players hold you in high esteem, that they look at you as a father figure, as a mentor, as a teacher. What's the best part of that whole process?
Uh, well, I have a few. I have a few. It's not like I have a best, because again, I'm blue and gold all day, every day. So just to be blessed to be in my 4th year as the head coach of the program that I played in, it's a great feeling. Each and every day I walk in there, in that gym, in the den, and I see my name or a few of those banners that you know I represented as a player, and now I'm seeing them as a coach. I mean, I get goosebumps every time I walk up in there. I mean, it is surreal, and but just to see the kids, like, like a Albert McKinney and a Kyler Bryant, go to the next level in basketball, something they wanted to do. To see like a Isaiah Eldridge, to have the opportunity to play the game, but had a better opportunity at FSU of being a student. But he had that opportunity. He could choose either one on whichever he wanted to do. And I was a part of that. I mean, that's all I asked for. To see the community down at Lakeland each and every time we go. And, we don't just go, well, we go for the games. We're on business. But I love to see the community like, hey, we're taking these 3 days for a little vacation. Like, we appreciate that, coach. Listen, I ain't do nothing but holler and scream at them kids. They did all the work. But to see the community just get involved and win or lose, enjoy the process of going down there, even the regional games. the game we played against Bethlehem in the Den. And then the next game we played Jay in the Den. And to see the Den pack both games, and it says a lot. And, that's what I wanted to do when I got here. I understand the job's not done, though, because, we have a lot to show for it.
You had a young man that graduated, I think, a couple of years ago, Tyron Watford.
Yes, sir.
I met him when he was still in middle school. I taught a STEM class right here in this room.
Okay.
And they brought, at that time, I was doing a lot of the STEM stuff and a lot of the AVID stuff.
Okay.
And he may have been part of an AVID class. But either way, he was over here. And he was a relatively slight young man, relatively small, not very tall. And part of the process was doing interviews with each of those students and teaching them how to do interviews, soft skills.
Gotcha.
And when it was his turn, I'll never forget that I said, "So, Mr. Watford, what is it that you see yourself doing in 2, 5, 10 years?" And he said, I'm going to play high school and then college basketball."
Gotcha.
And, when somebody who is not of a physical stature tells you that, obviously you have to doubt a little bit.
Right.
But he never wavered in his answer. And we then talked about basketball a little bit. And I always remembered that. It wasn't very many years later, I see him on varsity basketball at Chipley High School.
That's right.
Championship year.
That's right.
And
an important piece, too.
And I made sure that I took the time to put my arm around him, shake his hand, and say, "You remember in that conversation?" He said, "Oh, yeah. And you didn't believe me, did you?" And I said, "No, it's not that I didn't believe you. It's just that I didn't believe that it could happen."
Right.
And yet you did it, and you did it completely on willpower and want to.
Right.
That's all that it was. There was nothing else that came. Nobody injected him with some kind of secret sauce that made him step up.
That's right.
Talk a little bit about him and others like him and what they've been able to do in spite of deficiencies in size or speed or whatever, but they want it so bad that they do make it happen.
Well, one thing about Tyron, that's funny that you mentioned him. His 11th grade year, I didn't pick him on the team. I didn't. But he played that year because I had a couple to quit. And he walked in my rooms like, "Coach, I know I ain't make the team, but I saw a few of them quit, and I still want to play." I said, "You know what, Tyron? You got it. Be at practice, 3 o'clock." And he was there. And, obviously you saw him early in his life, and then you saw him his 11th to 12th grade year. He didn't grow. So,
but he put on weight.
But yeah, NBA was out of the line, but we called him Nat. We called him Nat that state-run year because Tyron, that's exactly what he was. He was a Nat. Full court. He was in you. He wasn't letting you go. I used to tell Tyron, "Hey, figure out what his deodorant smell like." That's how close I wanted you to be on him. And he did exactly that. Was a very key player on that state-run year, our first year. And it makes me feel good, that a young man that did not make the team, at first he did not make the team, but he didn't quit. He didn't quit. Like, he had that heart in him. And at one point I felt like, okay, maybe I made a mistake, but then as it went by, I'm like, okay, this is how it was meant to be. So, and we have a few of those right now. 9th grade year, we have that type of caliber when it comes to Tyron, of just having that heart. And I'm like, 11th, 12th grade year, these kids are going to be great. They're going to change the program. Like, we're changing as is, but they're going to really show the folks that we could be the standard in the state of Florida, not just the Panhandle. So just to hear that story of Tyron, man.
And they're not going to let anybody tell them that they can't do something going forward, whether it's in business, whether it's in additional schooling or education, and they're going to make great citizens because of that.
And that's the thing. And we tell ours all the time, like, you kind of look at sports, if you know you're not going to the next level of this sport, you got to look at it as you're just getting ready for the real world. You're going to have to fight for that job that you really want. You're going to have to fight for that wife that you want. You just can't have that girlfriend once you get that girlfriend and just like, hey, I'm just going to settle down. No, you have to continue to do what you were doing, put the work in, make her that wife, and make sure your family is where it needs to be. You're gonna have to make sure you bring that paycheck in every 2 weeks or however you get your money just for your family. You're going to have adversity regardless in this life. And we have to explain it to them each and every day. We're bringing life lessons at our program. And with the blessing, it's working on and off the court.
One conversation that I have with my students a lot is the fact that we don't learn anything from success.
Right.
If we do something and we knock it out of the ballpark first time out, we don't have a clue
Nah.
what caused us to be successful. But if we fail, if we fall short, if we are not successful, then we know exactly what we fell short on,
That's right.
where we failed ourselves.
That's right.
Talk about that in the world of sports,
Oh, well,
especially in
well,
high school.
I could just tell you what just happened on Tuesday. Friday, with the football team with the Pahokee, and you know how it went now. And so Monday we had our first practice. We had 5 to 6 football players, on the team. We had our first practice with everybody. And Tuesday we got to go to Tallahassee, Leon High School, 6A. And I already knew what to expect. But regardless, I'm not canceling this game. This is what we do. We schedule a few of these teams that we know what could be the amount, even if we had one practice or we had 20. It is what it is. And Leon was very much adversity. It beat us by 31. And you just said it. If we would have went in there and looked good off of one practice, I'm just going to be honest with you, I would have been concerned.
It would not have been a good year.
I've been concerned because now with the mindset of my kids, like, oh, we, one practice, oh, we got this state running. No. You need to see different level of basketball. You need adversity.
Now you know what to work on.
Now we know what to work on. Now
You fall short.
Yeah, now I have everything I need to make sure that you're ready. You understand what we're trying to get to. So yeah, we just saw that Tuesday.
It has been documented, it's a scientific fact, that the level of testosterone in American males has diminished over the past 20 years. We obviously see a lot of health-related excuses for people not playing sports. We saw Graceville this year did not field a football team.
Right.
It's becoming more and more prevalent. Talk a little bit about the importance of sports, regardless if it's on a varsity level or intramural level, to the overall success, to the overall development of especially young males.
Right. Well, you just said it. Just health-related issues. Young men need to be out running, walking, throwing, just being active. Like they need to be out there moving around just for health-related issues. And the mental of just being competitive. Men, we have to be competitive in whatever way we can be. And once I see my son comes to Chipley, he stays in Atlanta. When he comes to Chipley, hit that phone and an iPad. We don't see it for hours. We don't see it for hours. Because I know, like, we didn't have it back then, but my father, I fished a lot. He kept me. I started at soccer and then went on to baseball and even at one point at golf at times. So I was an active child. And I'm like, no, my son, he loves to be on that game. But when he's with me, no, we're going fishing. Like you need to pick up these traits, like I'm gonna do you like my father does me. As you get older, I'm gonna show you the fishing spots and you gonna drive me around and we're gonna go to them. But all of that, it helps them just to be active. You need that. You need that. But just playing sports in general, you need that competitiveness. You need that. You need that sense of something that you care about, and you're gonna put your all in it, whether you win or lose. You know how to compete. And and at some points, you need to learn how to. You need to understand how it feels to lose. You need to understand how you feel to lose because mentally that can mess you up as well. You get out here in this real world, you've never lost before. Everything has been given to you, and then you get out here, and as you see, it's a different world out here. You can lose yourself.
In any kind of sports, it's not how hard you hit, it's how you can take a hit.
That's it.
It's just like the succeed teaches you nothing, whereas a failure teaches you where you need improvement.
That's it.
What do you need going forward? This is a good opportunity to address the community. We get a lot of eyeballs on this show. What is it right now that you need, that the Chipley varsity basketball team needs? What today, as we sit, what is it that the community can do to help you in any way?
Well, I mean, well, first, again, let's go back to trust. Trust in what we're doing. I want to be here another 15 years. I want to walk away from here and say I did as much as I can for my hometown. And I just ask community just to continue just trust in what we're doing with our program. Because I joke all the time, but I'm serious about it. I want to see more of the Trent Forrest and the Alice Hamiltons. I want to see more of them representing little old Chipley. If they're in the NBA, if they're overseas, if they're in the NFL, I want to see more of good, that the Ace McKinneys, the Kyler Bryants, the Tayshaun Sims at Alabama State, at Sefton McGee, at Marshall. I want to see more of them. And not just in sports. I want to see more of them athletically in band at their universities. It's a great thing to see our young men and women just represent our city in a positive way. So not just in basketball. I'm here to help through all. And I know I'm just one person, but I'm willing to help through all. Now, when it comes to the gym sports, right now we're debating on, we want to do some renovations to the gym. Especially for boys and girls basketball, like we're debating on things of like the shooting machine and things of that nature, to prepare our kids, and meant to prepare our kids. But we're thinking about renovating the gym a little bit, and so financially, that will be coming up right now. We are fundraising. We are doing our newly sponsorships, which is $150 renewal is $150. If you're a new sponsorship, it's $250. Right now, both boys and girls basketball program have their own vertical raise, which is online. So you'll see all of that. I think the girls, they have their on their Facebook website. I can't really remember right now, but I know the girls, they have theirs, and then we have ours on the Chipley Boys basketball Facebook page.
And we'll get those on the screen right now, so we'll find out what those are and put those up on the screen.
But we it's just
You always need money.
But we always need money, and we need you to come to the games. I've been walking around, and me going out there now fundraising, and the first thing I asked, when the last time you've been to a basketball game, and I hear them like, oh, it's been a couple of
I
years.
think if you can get them to a game, they'll get infected with that spirit, with that excitement. And seeing that our young people are doing as well as they are,
Yes.
I think that's actually a very first step.
Yes.
Have you thought about maybe having an open house one time where there's no admission fee and just get a bunch of new people in?
Well, we start off kind of late this year. It's my fault, to be honest with you, because normally we start in December. For some reason, I don't know why I started in November, but we normally start the season in December. I know we're going to get back to that next year. And instead of playing a preseason game, I'm thinking about just doing an open house, a little scrimmage between the girls and the boys, so we can address those issues and get people excited of playing. No, I have not used all the opportunities that I could to promote the program, but I'm learning. I'm continuing to learn as a girl. I tell everybody, listen, I don't know everything. I'm still fresh into it. This is only year 4 here at Chipley High School, but it's only year 5 as a head coach. So I'm learning as I go, to prepare myself and to prepare the program. But just to see the fans at the game, see the community at the game, that will be grateful.
Well, we have enjoyed working with you, being a part of your program. My students certainly enjoy that.
Listen, I appreciate everything y'all done since year one. And I'm glad you said something about that. I was scrolling through Facebook, and now I'm seeing all these media days, from other programs. I'm like, nah, I didn't see none of that. I didn't see none of that until we started. And you and your program, the technical college and your students. I mean, we wouldn't have done it without you.
Well, it's a great opportunity for my students to be a part of something that they can actually see results.
Right.
We try to work within the real world confines, whatever it happens to be, working with other entities, other schools, other businesses.
Right.
And it just makes too much sense. It would be kind of crazy not to work with all of the schools in the county.
Right.
Thank you for taking the time. I know that you are extremely busy. I mean, you only have to listen to what you said in the last little bit of the interview, and we know that you're slammed. Please take the opportunity to visit us again at some point. Let's don't wait too long. I think that maybe part of your overall effort of awareness, maybe, trying to come every month or two and let's let the community know what's going on. We're going to continue to cover what you do, and hopefully that's going to drive some interest. But thank you so much for taking the time today.
Sir.
And again, we really appreciate being able to work with you, and wish you the best of luck in this coming season.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you. If there's any way I can help you, please let me know.
I appreciate that. Our guest today has been Dwight Kennedy, Dion Kennedy, Coach D, whatever you want to call him. Just don't call him late for dinner.
That's right.
We truly love our high schools. We have the fortune here in Washington County of having two distinct and separate community high schools. They're rivals at times. Certainly they work together most of the time. But a lot of good young men and women in all of our school districts. And we don't realize that unless we do go to some of these games. So next time you have a chance, go to a local middle school, high school, football, basketball, baseball, it doesn't matter what the sport. Find out what's going on in your community. We'll be right back.